Today we're going to take cardstock from Spotlight, add a Lindt Ball to create this frightfully delicious candy holder. Let's make this! So not a lot of materials today. We've got a standard grip mat and a light grip mat because we're going to be using cardstock as well as some vinyl. Now they really need a clean, don't they? I've got some cardstock here that I got from Spotlight. It's the Frightfully range. I'm going to be using some black as well as some orange and purple for this. So I've got the 30 by 30 cardstock and I've also got the A4 cardstock. I've got some adhesive foam and we're going to use that to help one of the components jump up off the design. I've got some holographic HTV from Siser. This is very cool. It's very awesome. I love it. And then I've got some Lindt balls. So I've gone with the milk mint ones because they're green. They're also particularly quite delicious. So, but you can choose any, I mean, there's red ones, there's blue ones, but I thought for this color combination, the mint one would be possibly the best one to use. We're going to start today's project in 1001 fonts. The reason I want to do that is because I want to find a Halloween font. And I had a quick look in Design Space and the Halloween fonts that were available are not free. So if we go into 1001 fonts, and I've linked that in the description below, we can just do a search up the top for the word Halloween. Now, the cool thing about 1001 fonts is you can see that some of these fonts are actually got images. So back in the day, it used to be just wingdings were available. If you're as old as I am, you'll remember wingdings. But now you can actually see that there are lots of different fonts that are available that have images, which is really cool because you can, if you know what each of the letters corresponds to with the images, you can use them. So you can see the spiders, and we've got witches and cats and things like that. So see the skulls even. So it's really cool that you can do that. Now, I've just downloaded one of the fonts. See the spider webs? See? They're really cool. Anyway, I've downloaded one which was called Scary Girls. And now I'm going to download Scary Mumster. So you just click on that green download button. And then it will download. You open it up. It will be a zip file. So if you double click on it, if you're a Mac user, it will come up and extract that file for you. If you are a Windows user, you will have to right click on it and do an extract all. And then you're going to double click on the font that you've chosen. And then you're just going to click on install. And then we're going to head on into Design Space. Now that we're in Design Space, you'll see as we go through that this is using a number of different moving parts, but really we're just using the offset and text over and over again. So don't get freaked out because there are a number of different steps in this next part, but just stop it, do one of the components and then move on and do the next bit, because really we're just writing some words, we're doing a slice and we're doing some offsets. So stick with it and pause if you need to, go back and watch it if you need to. There is not a problem there at all. Now that we've gone from 1001 fonts, we're going to start a new project in Design Space. So I'm just going to go up to do a reload. So I go to View and click on Reload. This means that the fonts we've just downloaded from 1001 fonts will now be in our system. To start with, I'm going to grab a circle. Now, this circle is going to be where the Lindt Ball appears. So I've got a 2.6 circle. I did a Google search. It said that the Lindt balls are about 1.04 inches. That converts to about 2.6 centimeters. So I'm going to have that. Then I want to do my text. So I'm going to start with the hall. So we're going to break it up. We've got a hall and then we've got a ween with the O in the middle. And then I've chosen our Scary Girls font that we've just downloaded. Now I've changed the height of the word haul to 2.6. That way it fits in with the circle, which is a 2.6 centimeter circle. Then I just have right clicked on haul and done a duplicate. And now I've just done the ween. Now I had capital letters for haul and I've done capital letters for the ween, and then I thought, no, those little E's actually make it look a little bit cooler. So I have just gone with capital W and a capital N at the end with 2 lowercase e's. Then I want to center everything. Now this is important because we're going to do an offset. So make sure that you have centered our text. I know that eventually we're going to have to iron it on and we're going to have to center that text ourselves, but to create this offset we need everything to be centered. So I've just highlighted the haul, the O and the ween, and I have aligned it center vertically. Now we're going to do our offset. So I've highlighted all of those elements again, and I'm doing an offset of 0.4. It gives us a fairly good border. I'm not sure. I can't contour this. So hopefully when it cuts that between the L and the O, that will cut okay. Because sometimes with our cardstock, yeah, I think I'm going to delete it. So the more I thought about it, I'm going to delete that and I'm going to do the offset. I'm going to just increase it just that little bit. So it's 0.45. So now I don't have that little gap between the little tiny gap between the L and the O. And I'm just changing that to orange because that's going to be our outline, our offset color. We're going to now group the haul O ween. So I've just highlighted haul O and ween, and then I have grouped it. Then I've got happy. Now happy is going to, we're going to put that up off our design. So it needs to be a separate element. And I've changed it to our scary Mumster script, which is what we've just downloaded from the 1001 fonts. So I'm going to start off by giving it an offset. And I've gone with a 0.2 offset. And I've changed that to purple because that's going to be cut out of purple cardstock. Now, at this point, I really need to think about where I'm going to put that in the grand scheme of things, because we're going to do a third offset. So this is a lot of offset practice. But the reason we're going to do a third offset is because I want a piece of card that goes around the whole lot. So we're going to do a 0.5 offset around the whole thing. So I've highlighted the happy, the Halloween, as well as both of their offsets. So I've just done a big circle around the whole lot. And then I have done an offset of 0.5 around the whole lot, and that's going to be cut out of black card. Now I'm going to start doing some slicing. This is where our Lindt Ball is going to fit. I've started by clicking on the orange offset between the one that goes around Halloween, and I have clicked on the circle and the offset, and then I've gone down to slice, and I've deleted one of the circles only. The reason I'm only doing one of the circles to start with is because we need to cut through each of these layers. So we want to keep the orange offset that has got the hole cut out of it. So don't get rid of that, and only get rid of one of our circles. Then we're going to repeat that process, but this time we're going to do it with the black offset, because we need it to go through. Our ball is going to be seen from the back of the holder, and it's also going to be seen from the front of the holder. So we need to go through the orange and we need to go through the black. So I've gone through the first one, then I've done the same thing. I've highlighted just the one of the circles and the black offset, and I have clicked on slice. And I need to go through, and I'm deleting this time. I'm deleting all of the circle slice results. So I have got just the orange one and the black one that have both got holes in them. I'm moving that down. So you can see on the right hand side in the layers panel, I'm just shuffling those two slice results, because as you do a slice, it actually moves it to the front of your panel. So it looks like you've lost everything, but you actually haven't. It's just all moved because you've created a new object essentially once you've done this slice. So you've created a new object, and the program goes, oh, every time we put a new object in, we're going to put it on top of the layer. And that's essentially what's happened there. So don't panic. If you have a look in your layers panel, you will see that all of those parts are still there. All I've now done is just rearrange them. So I've grabbed the black one and I've moved it down to the bottom. Then I've grabbed the orange one and moved it just above the black one. So you can see that we've still got all of our parts. Now I'm going to duplicate the black offset or the black slice, and then I have flipped it. Now, the reason I have flipped it is because it's going to be the back of our candy holder. So I am going to flip it vertically. And so what it's done is it looks now like a shadow, essentially. Now, I don't want it to sit right on top of the other slice result or the other background, the black background, because I think that the thickness of the Lindt Ball needs a little bit of leeway at the bottom. So I'm going to create just a rectangle, and it's not going to be a very thick rectangle, but it's going to be long. So I'm making it 0.5 centimeters, so it's half a centimeter, and then I'm just going to sit it kind of where the curve starts on the H, and then I'm just going to drag it so that it goes kind of to the end of the N. And then I want to manipulate it because I don't want any of the black to have a hole in it. So you can see that this new rectangle I've created has covered all of the little ripples that follow our Halloween. Then I'm going to highlight the whole lot. I'm going to center it. Then I'm going to change the color of the rectangle to black, and then select all of the black components. So I'm going to have to open up the group and click on the black slice result from the group. I'm going to click on the flipped slice result, and I'm going to click on the rectangle, and then I'm going to click on combine and unite. The reason I want to do that is to make sure that that piece is cut out as one piece. If I had clicked on attach, it would have cut it still with each of those rectangles and each of those different shapes as 3 separate parts. Whereas here, if we unite them, we've created one part or one piece, and it is going to cut all the way around that whole component. So you can see on the right hand side in the layers panel, we now have a shape that looks like a dragon's head facing to the right. So you've got the 2 eyes and you've got a long nose and some ears. And so that means that the design space will now cut that out as one shape. So I'm just going to delete that extra circle I thought I was going to need, but I actually don't need it. And then we're just going to save that. So I'm just saving it as Halloween Lindt Ball holder. This is a really good one to save because you could use this over and over and over again. It doesn't have to change. All you need to really do is change your coloring if you wanted to. And then we're going to go to make. All right, so we're just going to go through these mats. I think I'm going to move the word happy here because I'm going to use a holographic HTV vinyl, which means that it's going to need a bit of a firmer cut. So I'm going to have to cut through it twice. So I'm just going to move happy. So all I've done is click on those 3 dots, click on move object, and I've created a new mat because I want it on a brand new one. So if you haven't changed the color of it, you can go back in and just click on plus in the new mat and then just choose a different color, and it means that it will have a brand new mat which has happy on it. Now I'm going to make sure I mirror that because it's a iron-on vinyl, so we do need to mirror. And then we're just going to go through the cutting process. So I'm going to use medium cardstock for the black outline. So this is our offset. For the Halloween, I need to mirror that because I'm going to use iron-on vinyl. I'm just going to move. So I've just hit edit there just to separate that the haul and the ween, because I'm going to have to cut between the two of them because they're two separate things. So I've just moved them around, and that's just a regular vinyl. Then with the orange, that's just going to be cardstock as well. So I'm just going to click on medium cardstock. And then, as I said, with the happy, it's going to be a holographic with more pressure, just in case. While I'm weeding, I just thought I'd show you this little gadget. It's a light pad from Spotlight. It's the Crafter's Choice brand. It works really well if and you can't really see it on the screen very well, but it works well if particularly you've got I've found lighter vinyl, or one that's got a light backing on it, because it actually helps you see where you are cutting. Because I've seen people doing the method where they put the baby powder down, and I just don't want to put baby powder all over my stuff. So I went out and bought this. It was a birthday present. I got a voucher at Spotlight, so I thought I'd splash out, because it's one of those things that I didn't think I would buy myself, but because it was a present, it was a good thing to lash out on. So if anyone was wondering where or what this is, that's what it is. All right, so now that everything's weeded and everything's cut, we're going to start by placing our HTV down on our cardstock. The day I found out that you could iron onto cardstock was quite possibly one of my most mind-blowing days ever, because I love having this offset and I really have enjoyed using cardstock. I didn't when I was younger and wanting to make cards and things, because I never could cut it straight, and then the glue would go everywhere. And then when I got a Cricut, I thought, oh, maybe I can start making some cool cards. And then again, the glue would now go everywhere. So I could cut it nicely, but the glue would go everywhere and I could see things through. You get a bit of shiny glue on our card, and then you can see it forever. But the day I found out you could iron onto cardstock, oh, I was just so happy. So now I do it very often, like ridiculous amounts of time, because I just think that not only is it neater, but also so much quicker. The weeding process versus trying to glue each particular piece into the right spot is just a game changer. So I've got this yellow HTV that I'm putting on the Halloween, and then I've got my holographic Siser vinyl that I've put on Happy. Now, both of these are a cool peel, I've found. I've tried doing it on a hot peel. I found, and I don't know, am I just not reading things correctly, but on the Siser packaging, it doesn't really tell you to let it cool too much. Or have I just not read it properly? But anyway, I've worked out it's a cool peel. So you can see here how great this Happy, now that I've peeled off the backing. Oh my God, how cool is this Happy? I just love it. And it's so neat, so tidy. It also means that when you stick it down, or before you've actually ironed it down, you can move it around to make sure it's in the right spot. And look, the yellow off that orange, love, absolutely love. I'm obsessed with this. You know when sometimes you think, oh, this should look good, and then you're not really sure? Well, this is one of those times. In my head, it looked good, but now I'm actually really quite impressed with that. All right, so now that we've done that, let's move on to our next step. All right, now that we've got our HTV sorted, now it's just a matter of putting all of this together. So I'm going to use some glue tape. Now, I got some from Spotlight, and I can tag that in the description below. But this one here that I've got, that I'm using, is just a little Sheen one. So I know they're not an Australian company, but I didn't realise that they had little craft stuff. And then I was just buying some clothes, and saw that they had a little craft section, so I clicked on it, and these little glue things are phenomenal. They are cheap as chips, and they work really well. So I don't know, I'm torn, but I do love them. So what I've done the Halloween first. So I've got to do is just line that up over the circle, and I've done that quite well. And then just stick that down. And then the next thing I'm going to do is grab some of that foam adhesive tape and stick down our happy. Now, I might have to, I don't know if they're all going to fit nicely. I might have to cut back. Oh, maybe it should be okay. So we just want this to sit up off the Halloween, just to give it a little bit of pop and a little bit more, I guess, excitement or something. So just a couple of pieces of that foam tape, and then I'm just going to line it up with our offset. I just use my tweezers to get the backing off the foam tape, just because I don't want to get my fingers on it and maybe ruin the stick on it, I guess. And also it means you don't get the stick on your fingers either. So it's just a little trick I use. It may not be revolutionary, but it's just a trick. And also because you can see here now that I'm pressing it down, you can actually see that because we have done that, it sits up off the offset of the Halloween. So I think that looks pretty cool. Now it's just a matter of folding this. So I'm just going to grab a ruler and the scoring tool, and I'm just going to make a couple of lines. Now you could just do one straight down the middle, but because we've created that rectangle shape, I'm just going to line it up with each side so that it's got a little bit of it's not going to have a very flat base, but it's got a little bit of that flat base. So I've just grabbed the scoring tool to do that. You could even, if you wanted to, you could have actually done that within the design itself and just got the Cricut to do these lines. But I didn't think of it until now. And also my scoring tool is fine. It's just like a pen. But if you've got the wheel, you might need to do that as part of the actual project. And then I'm just using my ruler as a guide to do the actual fold, just to make sure it stays neat for no other reason. The scoring tool's great, whether you've got it in the machine or you don't. The scoring tool's great, but it's not like it's creating this hard line like in a card that you get from the shop. So you do need to use some kind of, a lot of the time you will need to use some kind of aid to help you with doing that. So I just use a ruler because it's a straight line. And now let's see, the moment of truth. Will our Lindt Ball fit in here? This, I think, oh, I love this. Oh my God. I'm so glad I chose the Lindt Ball too. All right, now this is probably the most fiddly part, particularly if you've got the big fingers and the thumbs like I do. I'm going to just use that glue tape again to tape this down and hope for the best and hope that it actually sticks. We want to be able to open it because you're giving it to someone, right? So I'm assuming that by doing this, we're kind of creating a bit of an envelope situation. But I've done it along the top and I've also done it along the sides. Now, in hindsight, the sides may not have been the best choice. But because if you think about all the other candy holders, I actually don't think they do stick the sides down. But it encloses this beautiful little Lindt Ball. So, I mean, why not? You don't want it rolling around. Imagine if you gave this to someone and it didn't have the ball with it. So I'm okay with that, the edges being stuck down, but you don't have to. Now, that little bit between the happy and the Halloween, just that tiny little bit, that's not sticking down very well. But, oh my God, look at this, guys. I love it. Oh my goodness. Imagine giving these out to someone for Halloween. I know this is not something that you would do if you were having kids coming around and doing the trick-or-treat knock. But if you were having a Halloween party, what a great idea. What a great thing for people to take home. particularly if you've got, it could be something that you give out to your kids' friends, or I think this is a real adult present, to be honest. Lindt balls are not cheap, so and I think adults probably appreciate them a little bit more than kids do, especially on the sugar high of the 31st of October. So look how cool it is, though. I'm loving it. Well, isn't this just spooktacular? This is a fantastic project, obviously, for Halloween. You could do this for Happy Birthday. You could have done and had the Lindt Ball as the D, maybe. You could do this with someone's name. You could do this as a Christmas one as well. What I love about it is that it's cheap. It uses a couple of skills over and over again. So it's really good if you are a beginner and you are trying to work out things like what the offset is, what does it mean if you are trying to use iron-on onto cardstock, things like that. One tip, the longer that sat, it kept popping open. I tried double-sided sticky tape as well. It was worse than the glue tape. So I ended up, and it was only across the top. So the sides were fine, I think, because they were further away from the Lindt Ball. So the further away from the Lindt Ball you got, the more it stuck because it had no pressure trying to pop it open. So in the end, I used a little bit of hot glue. So hot glue is the tip for that. But I think this is a great project for beginners or even for us seasoned crafters. So thanks for being here for the first of the Halloween projects. I can't wait to show you next week's. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget, you can always jump on my Instagram, head over to my Etsy store, or even check out the videos YouTube recommends for you down below. See you next time.